Good evening, audience members. My name is Aurora Ruotolo. I am in 10th grade, and my speech tonight is on financial inequality. Are you basically saying that once you reach $999 million, that the government should confiscate all the rest? Is what Senator Bernie Sanders was asked in May of 2023 during an interview on HBO Max. Now, to this question, Sanders' simple response was, yeah, you may disagree with me, but I think people can survive on $999 million. Now, disregarding the radical aspect of Sanders' proposed policy, let's address the issue he is attempting to tackle. Is the society that we live in today truly one that allows its members to climb its ranks, making sole use of grits, determination, and wits? Or are the driving factors of success in our society today privilege and generational wealth? In 2012, a study was conducted among Americans where they were asked to select which wealth distribution they wish to be ideal in their society. 92% of Americans chose this as the ideal wealth distribution. Now, of course, the harsh reality they were confronted with was the truth, the true graph. A society so disproportionately unequal that the top 1% are given an entirely different section for themselves, while the bottom 50, 60, even 70% are left struggling, tearing themselves apart for mere scraps of the commonwealth. To put it concretely, the bottom 50% of individuals in America own less than 3% of commonwealth. And globally, the top 10% worldwide collectively own 3/4 of commonwealth. The top 10 richest men in the world, their combined wealth is $2.2 trillion. To put that figure into perspective, there are only 11 countries out of the nearly 200 in our world that have a GDP that is greater than 2.2 trillion. And we are talking about some of the most, if not the most powerful nations on our planet. Audience members, it is time for you to be confronted with the reality of our society. Financial inequality is a form of injustice that is uniquely distinct to others, mainly due to the fact that it is driven by a system which we have instilled, perpetuated, and continuously praised. The stigma that is formed around calling this system flawed, as well as the straightforwardness with which it perpetuates the formation of oligarchies within our society, propel the system forth and mask a disproportionately unequal playing field with a non-existent meritocracy. Now, to look for evidence of this claim, look no further than the events of today. In the very recent New York mayoral election, 26 billionaires spent over $22 million attempting to halt Zohran Mamdani's campaign for New York mayor. Now, Mamdani won his campaign, a clear symbol of the yearn in society for change, but audience members, it is how we choose to act upon that sentiment that will define us in the end. Now, when tackling such a complex topic as wealth inequality in the world, it is imperative to tackle how it applies on the global scale and to nations themselves. The Gini coefficient is a statistical measure of wealth inequality in the world that ranges from the values of 0 to 1, where at 0 a society is completely equal in terms of its wealth distribution, and at 1 it is completely unequal. If we begin to assess the different Gini coefficients of nations worldwide, we start to see a pattern. Northern European countries, Finland, Lithuania, etc., Denmark, have the lowest Gini coefficients. Sub-Saharan African countries, South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, with the highest coefficients. What does this tell us? that the poorest individuals living in the lowest income countries are the ones struggling the most. And so when we take this concept and we apply it on the most drastic and also the realist of scales, we reach a single realization. More economically developed countries are thriving on the profits of centuries' worth of colonialism, while less economically developed countries and the people within them are left struggling to maintain the pace of nations that had been exploiting them or harnessing their resources, or still do. Audience members, the geographical location into which you were born delineated your expected life path. It is with great self-awareness that we must come to the realization that despite how diligently we will work, despite the challenges we will face, despite how focused we will be on our goals, our pathway in life was in some way decided by a simple roll of the dice. A roll of the dice that happened at birth that decided the regional wealth, the socioeconomic status, and therefore the opportunities that we were born into. Audience members, as I stand before you today, I am aware that I am walking on a thin razor's blade. After all, I'm playing devil's advocate. I am addressing a speech on financial inequality to the members of a private school, to the very individuals who are benefiting from the system that I am calling flawed. But audience members, it is exactly because we are the ones benefiting from the system that we must act for change, because we have the power to turn the tide. It takes the acknowledgement of the plain unfairness of the current playing field and of our pure luck into being born in a relatively financially stable situation to act against the human greed that drives financial inequality. Many of the ways to tackle this issue stem from government action, like what Senator Sanders proposed, but to a less drastic scale. Yet, the common individual can also act for change by implementing voting for lawmakers and actions and policies that regard the issue, as well as donating to organizations tackling the issue of financial inequality worldwide. Please remember what was written on my slide just a moment ago. All we have been is lucky. And therefore, a system that might seem to be impossible to tackle, as it has been instilled for centuries, becomes one that is able to be tackled because we find our strength in our collective. We have power in who we are as a collective people, and we must therefore bind together to tackle financial inequality worldwide. Thank you.